Yes, everybody, welcome to Tactical Preview United versus Chelsea. Penultimate home game of the season for the Reds, and it don't look good at the moment, does it? Before we get into all that, we are sponsored by the good folks at BetBull. They're sponsoring me for the whole month and maybe for a little bit longer as well. You guys can help me out and keep that thing going by checking out the link in the description, and if you come and follow me as well, we are only now a few days away from giving away a signed Marcus Rashford United shirt. So if you want to win one of those, then all you got to do is download the app, which is completely free. Come and follow me on there at Mr. Stephen Howson, and you could be getting that. So check out the link in the description below and come and get in the mix on that one as soon as possible. So we've lost 7 out of 9 games, lads. 7 out of 9 games. Minging, isn't it? Absolutely minging. It's the 4th time in the last 5 games United have failed to score. Okay. And it's also 8 hours and 47 minutes since we've scored a goal from open play, April the 2nd being the last time that we actually managed that. It's the club's worst run of form for 57 years. After breaking records in a positive light, we are now breaking records in a negative light. We conceded 20 and scored 6 in our last 9 games, and it's not been good. Ole came out after the City game and said we got a reaction, and in the end we were beaten by a better team, but we did get a reaction from the fans and the players and had a go. You can see the work rate was there, it just wasn't good enough, and I would agree on that. It was a very close game against City, and I think their confidence and their ability shone through in the end. He also said there is a difference in quality. That's where they are top and we are where we are. They've set the standard. Living in Manchester, we cannot be happy with that. It's up to us to close that gap and overtake them. And obviously Roy Keane was on comms for Sky Sports, and Roy Keane did Roy Keane things, and he says there's nothing I've seen from United that makes me think they couldn't have given more. They could have not made mistakes, but that's the best they've got, I think. And he says, talking about Pogba, he says, I wouldn't believe a word he says. There's no meaning behind it. I don't even think he believed what he was saying there. He's a talented boy, but we were saying the same thing over and over. The number of times we've seen him in games where he's not sprinting or running back. I think that's a little bit on the unfair side. But yeah, when you're losing, when you're out of form, you want to see players dig deep. We did see that a little bit in the first half, but ultimately it wasn't good enough. I thought, personally, Pogba had his best team performance in a while against City up until it was 2-0, and then he sort of decided it's time for me to be the big I am and try and get this thing back and running. Anyway, if you are new here, please make sure to subscribe, and also if you're enjoying these videos, then please hit the like. It does help them get found. Right then, let's talk about Chelsea. We are 3 points behind them, as you can see there in the league table, which is not good, man, because we could have been level on points if we'd have sorted the Everton game out. Coming into this puts it in our hands then to be able to make sure we can get into the top 4. Somehow it's still possible that we can get in top 4 despite losing 7 of our last 9 games. So how bad everyone else has been, we cannot get over the line here. Despite losing 7 in 9 games, we are still possible for top 4. Ridiculous. Just shows how bad everybody else is. Chelsea have only won 3 out of their last 6 though. They've lost 5 out of their last 8 away games in the league. They could look to rest players because they've got a Europa League semi-final up against Frankfurt coming. It was 2-2 in the reverse fixture back in October. You remember that last minute equaliser there from Ross Barkley. Proper took the wind out of everybody's sails. Here's an interesting one, is they've yet to take a single point away from home against any of the top 6 this season. Lost every single time. That's interesting coming into this, which is why I think that all the bookies, as you'll see, have got them completely even. I think we're all about 13-8 and the draws about 12-5. So the bookies can't really split this one at all. Like United, they're struggling for goals up front. Higuain's only managed 13 goals in 40 for club and country this season. Only 4 of those have come in a Chelsea shirt, despite the absolute banger he scored in the week, which was a phenomenal turn for the goal. Only 4 goals in a Chelsea shirt so far. Key player for Chelsea, of course, is Eden Hazard. It's mad to think it could be anybody else. 16 goals, 13 assists so far in the league this season. For me, he should have been in the team of the year. I don't understand how he's not in the team of the year. Absolutely carried Chelsea big time, so yeah, for me, he was an absolute shoo-in. Disappointed he didn't get in there. 5 goals and 2 assists against United in 18 games. He completes 4 out of every 6 dribbles per game, which puts him at 9th in Europe's top 5 leagues. He averages 2.6 key passes per game, and our top assister, Paul Pogba, only manages 1.6. Contributes 25% of all Chelsea's goals in all competitions, 26 out of 103 goals. You've got to keep him quiet, but there's ways you can do that. Keys to victory for United is going to be, first and foremost, the high press. What we have to do is we have to press high from the front, and that was something that we did do pretty effectively in the first half against Manchester City. The game here is from the FA Cup game earlier this year. Rashford and Lingard pressing as a forward two disrupted City's passing game, and it was also something that we saw from the likes of Lukaku and Rashford in this game. We put a lot of pressure on Chelsea in the FA Cup game, and we managed to get them to turn the ball over in areas they didn't like and capitalise on that. Chelsea averaged 61% possession in games this season. They do play Luiz and Rudiger as their 2 centre-halves, and they go quite narrow. If you can get them into the channel, like is where Azpilicueta is here in the channel, you can isolate them and make them hit balls, hopefully forward, and that's where United can really capitalise. They do like to aim to go through Jorginho, and I think if you put the likes of Fred or Lingard on him to disrupt that, I think United are going to have a pretty good time. And as I said, Higuain is struggling to hold the ball up in anything like what he did for Napoli, for Chelsea at the moment. The other job that we've got to do is man-mark Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard, this is Herrera doing that unbelievable job that he did on him. I think it was last season. It might actually have been the season before. I think it was the season before. Absolutely stuck to him like glue. Didn't allow him a kick. He managed to get 0 shots and only 1 dribble off during this game. I would love to say Ander Herrera can do this job, but do you know who I think can do this job? Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay managed 5 tackles on Eden Hazard in the game last season, which was the most on any of the players. Only player that managed more than 1 tackle against Eden Hazard. So for me, Scott McTominay will be doing this job. Seeing as though I don't think Ander Herrera is going to play. The other key to victory for United is to get Rashford in behind the defence. We saw against Vincent Kompany this week how much Marcus Rashford can do against a high line defence, and for me, we should have continued with this, continued putting balls in behind City's defence, and continued to get Marcus Rashford to run against Kompany, because he would have been an absolute certainty to be sent off. Now, if Luiz plays, there's the person that you want to be getting in behind, because he will lift Marcus, he will foul him, and he will definitely pick up a yellow card. And then, if that's the case, we've got to persist in keeping going with him and try and put the guy off the pitch. Starting 11 wise, what I would be going with is as follows: 4-4-2 diamond, so effective for us in the last time we played them in the FA Cup, and also a little bit of what we sort of played against them. It was a bit more of a 4-2-2 in the game at home last season when it was so effective. I'll go with Big Dave in net. Solskjaer said he's not going to be dropping him. He is going to be keeping him in the team, and he is going to be looking for him to regain a little bit of confidence. But for me, we'll get to this in a second, it's going to be key that De Gea manages to sort his head out going forward, otherwise we're going to be in trouble. I've gone with Darmian. I thought Darmian dealt with everything City had to throw at us fantastically, and I've gone with a more defensive mind fullback against Eden Hazard because I think he's going to do a better job against him. I would expect McTominay and Darmian to double up on Hazard and keep the guy quiet. It will be Smalling and Lindelof, so there's no point even looking anywhere else for that. Luke Shaw left back. In midfield then, Scott McTominay at the base, Pogba and Fred to give us a little bit of a distribution base, Lingard to provide movement in and around the forward line, and then up front, Alexis Sanchez, because he can't be tired after only one touch involvement in midweek, and Marcus Rashford. That is what I would be going with. You can let me know your starting 11s or why you disagree with what I've put in the comments. The key player for United in this game, though, is David De Gea, because he's been so good for so long. I can forgive the poor goalkeeping to a certain extent. He's been flawless for years. So I can almost go, okay, I forgive you for some of the poor goalkeeping errors that we're seeing. But the distribution's killing me, man. The distribution needs work. And I think the lack of confidence, you can literally see him take so long on the ball as he's trying to make a good decision and then fluffing his lines. And I think that's bleeding over into what he's doing when he's facing an opposition striker. He's not confident at the moment. And I could have made a case for taking him out, possibly even to the end of the season, and letting him sort himself out and throw Romero in, because he's more than capable of stepping in. But Ole Solskjaer's come out and said he is going to keep him in the team. It's his worst run since 2011 in a United shirt. Crucial that he comes back to form. Loads of high-profile mistakes. The Barcelona game, the City game, Everton. But he is still making key saves. There was the phenomenal header one against West Ham from Antonio. He's got 3 errors leading to goals this season, and you could probably attribute a bit more of those, but these are directly leading to goals. 3 errors, which is more than he's ever had. He's got only 2 accurate sweeps in the league this season. Ederson, for example, has 16. Conceded 8 goals from outside the box, which is not something you would expect. He's got time to sort his feet out and get onto those. Gary Neville had a comment for it against the City game, or after the City game, says, "I don't think I looked at any player on the pitch and thought they could have given more. That's what they are." De Gea, to be fair, he's not normally like this. He is in a slump at the moment, and as I said, I can almost forgive the goalkeeping as he's facing up against shots, but the distribution has to be better. There's no excuse for that whatsoever. That needs sorting out. Righty, let's have a look at my bets this week. So, as usual, we are sponsored by the top folks over there at BetBull. The link is in the description below, so make sure that you guys check that out. Hit the link. It doesn't work if you don't hit the link in the description. Come and follow me on there, Mr. Stephen Howson. You can see all the bets that I'm putting on, and you can get yourself in the hat for a signed Marcus Rashford shirt as well. The bets that I'm going for this week, then. The first one, United to win 2-1 against Chelsea this week. I know. I don't know who's going to be scoring those goals. 9-1 is what you are looking at for that. It's the only one that I could really find any sort of value in, so that's what I'm going for. 9-1, if you fancy that. I'm going to have a cheeky little fiver on that one. And the other bet that I'm going to go for is Paul Pogba as an anytime goal scorer, 2-1. The reason I've gone for Paul Pogba, because I think it might be from the spot. I think that Pogba, being a penalty taker, is likely to unlock this more than anyone. The reason I think it's going to be from the spot is you've got to get in behind, and Luiz is a lunatic, isn't he, at the end of the day? And I think he's liable to give away a foul, he's liable to give away free kicks, possibly even a penalty. So Paul Pogba, anytime goal scorer, 2-1. I quite fancy that one. And maybe we'll see him turn up after being put into the team of the year as well, which a lot of fans aren't happy about. Like I said, link for those is in the description below, so come and join us, check it out, follow me on there as well at Mr. Stephen Howson, and you can get up to £100 in free social bets as well. So come and check those out. Let's have a look what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said then in his press conference this morning. He said it's been an emotional season for the players and the club, and that's what you've got to deal with as a football player, coach and manager. Deal with human beings. You could see on Wednesday that there is a team that wants to play and be there for each other. On the changing room, he says, I think you know the world has changed, so you don't have a Robbo, you don't have a Roy Keane, you don't have a Steve Bruce in our dressing room. We're all different, and we have a squad full of talented players, and leadership is so many different things. That's obviously in response to who's the real leaders in the dressing room anymore. And he said, I love to play with Roy Keane anyway. He was a fantastic captain. Society is different now, and we're all different in the way we lead. I don't lead the same way Sir Alex did, Van Gaal, Mourinho, we're all different leaders. On Pogba, he said, I think Paul's going to be here, very determined to succeed at Manchester United. He's done fantastic for us. He's a human being as well. Don't know what that means. And we're all the same. We want him to do well. That was in response to, is Paul Pogba going to be a Manchester United player next season? What do you guys think? Is there any chance of him being there? Is this stuff just purely paper talk? Do you think there's any truth in it? I think it's very easy to get caught up in, like, yeah, Pogba's going, because it seems like such a straightforward rumour to make, especially with Raiola being his agent. It's just one of them that you can definitely see happening, isn't it? So it's very easy to get caught up in that, is it going to happen, when it could just be complete fabrication. Right, let's head over to the Patreon Massive and see what is going on over there in terms of the questions. Let's just fire those up. If you want to know more about Patreon, the link for that is also in the description below as well. You get extra content, which is late, I do apologise for. You've got behind the scenes vlogs, you've got a Patreon only Q&A podcast as often as I can get to do the thing, and you also get priority for questions in previews and reviews and that sort of stuff as well. So let's have a quick look here then. So Liam says, do we drop De Gea and take him out the firing line? I would have, but I think probably not going to happen. I think, as Ole sort of alluded to in the press conference, he's going to keep him in the mix. How do we set up to combat Hazard? Surely Young isn't the answer. Obviously, we've already covered that one. That is McTominay and Darmian for me. Darmian, considering he's played once since January, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Attitude, perfect. And I think that needs rewarding. And I think even if you want to sell the guy, perfect. Play him again. Why not? Look, even if I didn't rate Young's abilities, if we just look at it as neutral as we possibly can, a player of his age and a player that hasn't ever really played that consistently in terms of number of games can't be expected to keep going at the highest level without a bit of a break every now and then. So I do think it's probably worth checking another option instead of Ashley Young. Not only has he been terrible, but he looks tired as well. So a bit of fresh legs there in Darmian, and you might even get a decent price for Darmian come summer. So from the business sense and everything, it makes sense to throw Darmian in for me. Sean, is it time to start some youth? Nothing to lose. I think you might see it after this game. This game, because it's sort of a 6-pointer with Chelsea, if we manage to get 3 points here, we look better for top 4. If we lose, it's surely completely over with then, and I reckon that you might go with youth in the last 2 games, but I wouldn't be expecting any. Milana, with Ander, how do you stop Hazard? Yeah, put someone else there. McTominay can do that. Do I think Pogba will stay? Hand on heart? No. This summer though, 50-50. It might depend on whether we get Champions League or not. Who do I think are realistic signings? We're doing preview, mate, not transfer talk. Is there any tactical tweaks we can make to play more attacking whilst having no informed forwards? I've been trying to wrap my brain about this, and the answer is I don't know why we're having fewer shots. Sometimes it helps to dominate the midfield and push that midfield further up, so you've got the ball a little bit further up, and then where you're trying to play your final third passes from are from more advantageous positions. But if you're a counter-attacking team, you never really have that anyway. We actually have been fantastic as a counter-attacking team. I don't know what it is. We're getting numbers forward. It's not that. We're not sitting off. I just don't know what it is. I think it's poor decisions. I think we're also putting ourselves under undue pressure, partly because of De Gea's distribution, partly because others can't maintain the ball very well. I just think there's a little bit of level-headedness required, a little bit of composure lacking from us. Matt says, how likely is it that both teams will set out to play counter-attacking? If not, does the proclaimed Sarri ball play into our hands, giving our threat on the counter? Yeah, it kind of does. Sarri needs to dominate the ball. That's how his team, that's plan A for Chelsea. They want to dominate the ball, even away from home, and they want to get Hazard on the ball in the final third. So that could play into our hands if we're looking at the sort of space that Marcus can get into. Marcus had some good opportunities. Lingard had a great opportunity. They've got to be more clinical as well. They've got to start taking their chances. I didn't like Marcus shooting from so far out when he tried to chip the keeper against City. Take it forward, drive it forward. You've got the opportunity and run at these defenders, especially if you get them on a yellow card. You've got to run at them and commit them. Do I think Ole is covering up events behind the scenes with his press conference? Undoubtedly. I've said it with every manager that we've had. What they say in a press conference is half-truths. They're never going to come out and tell you exactly what's happening, ever. Ever, ever, ever. Even if Ole comes out and he's all smiles and he's all, you know, how much I enjoy working with these players, he's tearing strips off them in private. He absolutely is. What are goals, says Luke. I've heard of them. I've seen videos. Matt says, have I heard of this new craze called Keep a Clean Sheet? Do you think we'll get involved in the craze on Sunday? Nope. Three-headed Hydra. Do I think Ole is reluctant to throw Greenwood in, even though it's obvious he doesn't want Sanchez? Why do I think he is? I don't know. For me, Greenwood's earned the right to be given a start. He's earned the right. This is what this club is all about. Ole knows this. I can't give of any reason why you wouldn't play him at all. It's not even a pressure thing. Like, everyone's under pressure. If he's going to make it at United, he has to learn to deal with pressure. You can't just protect them and be like, oh, we can't put them under pressure. Play for United, mate. The pressure's there already. Throw him in. See what happens. We haven't scored from open play in 8.5 hours, and you've got a young lad that's banging in almost 50 goals in the last 18 months. What have you got to lose? The kid will be confident. He's not been a part of the managerial shake-up with Jose or anything like that, he'll be fine. Play him. Will we score, says Mates. I hope so, mate. Jesus, if we don't now. Sean, on a couple of occasions, Shaw has had some really good games against Chelsea and caused problems. How can we best utilise Shaw and other fullback on Sunday? What I want to see from Shaw is more forward balls into the channel, because he doesn't do it enough, and the option's there, and you're like, everyone can see it. Play the ball, and it doesn't come off for him. You have to get him on the ball higher up the pitch, and then you're going to have a decent time of it, I think. Do I think if we beat Chelsea, we'll get top 4, considering they have a better goal difference? Yes, because I think they're still clangers. They're still obviously fighting for Europa League. If they lose to us, they might just completely toss it off in the league. We have to get above them and Arsenal. It's not the hardest thing in the world, to be honest, is it? It could. We're relying on them to drop more points, but I think they will. But we do have to win all 3 to even have any sort of a hope. We can't drop another point. I will be amazed if we drop another point and get into the top 4, because that is insane. That means that everyone else has been even shitter than us, which is hard to believe. Biffle says, Forsberg United like the idea of that. Yeah, I guess. I mean, like I've been saying, man, you could go shopping in the bottom 10 of the Premier League and massively improve this team. So someone like Forsberg absolutely does. What's my favourite United versus Chelsea game or moment besides the Champions League in 08? All my memories with Chelsea is where they've done us. The Drogba memory where they scored the offside goal to deny us the league. Losing 1-0 to them all the time in the 90s because we couldn't. It was just a bogey team for us at the old Stamford Bridge. Favourite moment? Beating them in the Champions League, not the final. We played them in the knockout stages. We haven't really had many great moments, have we? They beat us in the FA Cup. Like, they're a tough team for us, Chelsea, really. De Gea doesn't have a target man to send long balls to after Fellaini left. I think this has happened to Dave. Thoughts? He didn't just put balls up to Fellaini, though, at all. I mean, I don't like how he goes long to Lukaku all the time, because it always comes back, and I certainly don't like it when he tries it with Lingard and Mata. I think the issue is that you can't really trust the defence in front of him to take it, and Fred's had a couple of clangers, Pereira's had a clanger when it's come to him, and when you look at Fernandinho there, Jorginho there, even Company or Van Dijk, when they're collecting it from the goalkeeper, there just isn't that panic. Dave can play a 25-yard pass on the floor all day long. It doesn't need to be that complicated. It is what it is. Any more questions from everybody there over on the YouTube? Let's have a quick look. We've got the Forlan goal. Talk of Richarlison coming at Everton. What do you think? I can't see that, to be honest. Do I think Old Trafford needs updating? Yeah, all day long. It needs a clean. It needs someone to get the Karcher jet wash out and sort out all the white structure at the top of the stands. It's minging. It's all got moss on it. It's horrible. Paul says strikers would be better and score more goals if there was more creativity. Can't expect Rashford to do everything. Young should never wear a United shirt ever again, let alone be our captain. No wonder why we are in the shit, says Zach. I agree with every word of that. Sell them all, buy back the club, use youth. Okay, I haven't got 4 billion left. I'm about 4 billion short. I mean, I'd love it if we was owned by fans, but let's be honest. The problem the Glazers find is that they're sitting there going, oh, we can sell this club for probably now billions. But to keep it worth billions, you have to spend hundreds of millions on it. So on one hand, they're going to make an absolute killing when they do eventually sell us. But on the other hand, it becomes so expensive to actually make us competitive, with the Premier League being like the most competitive of the leagues. It's a killer. Nothing to lose, playing some youth. It's not as if any of the first team are doing anything. I think there's that aspect of it as well. But this is where people are going people go for experience, because it takes a bit of bravery to throw it in, although I don't think it does. I think you could easily just improve us by playing some of the youngsters. Do I rate Matt Doherty, says Big Chungus? Yeah, I do. For me, Matt Doherty or Wan-Bissaka should have been in the team of the year ahead of Trent all day long. Not even a debate about it. I think both of them would have been better. Ola Tunde says, I fear United might not really back Ole in the summer. No, me too, mate. Really do. I really do fear that. I can see the reasons for some of these contracts being extended is because you ain't getting Koulibaly and you ain't getting Alderweireld. Even if it's true that about Alderweireld having a £25 million release clause, that's basically a free transfer in today's market. It's absolutely ridiculous. Which match would I play Greenwood? I'd have played him against City. I think he just deserves playing it. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there, but thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to like the video. It does honestly really help getting it seen, and I do appreciate that. Make sure to subscribe if you're new around here. We're at 82,000. I'm hoping for 100,000 before the start of the season, so I've got a big summer ahead to try and make that thing happen. Cheers for everyone for getting in the mixer. Make sure to come and join us on Sunday after the match. There's a video coming out tomorrow which I think you definitely want to be checking out, and I've got United European Cup winning goalkeeper Alex Stepney joining me on the warm down on Monday afternoon as well. So keep it locked, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters.